All right, let's jump right in. Look, today we're going beyond just privacy. We're talking about architecture. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of how you can build your own digital independence, especially in a world that, let's be honest, is designed to own you. Think about it. Every single day, you're leaving this trail. It's like a digital ghost, right? And it's made up of every click, every search, every single private message you've ever sent. And that ghost, well, it's being packaged up, modeled, and then sold off to the highest bidder. This is the raw material, the fuel, for a massive silent economy that's humming along right under our noses. But here's the thing, the game has totally changed. We've moved way beyond simple tracking. By 2026, the goal isn't just to, follow your footsteps online. It's to build a predictive model of you, a full-on simulation that knows what you're going to do next, maybe even before you do. So yeah, welcome to the surveillance economy. But the good news? Today, we're going to architect your escape plan. So you might be asking, how in the world did we get here? Well, it definitely didn't happen overnight. It was this slow, kind of deliberate evolution. This is the story of what we call the great data extraction. Okay, so check this out. What's wild here is the jump in just how sophisticated this stuff has gotten. I mean, we went from what seemed like harmless cookies, the things that were all about convenience, to full-blown predictive modeling and biometric harvesting. And we're not just talking about random data points. We're talking about your face, your voice, even the unique rhythm of how you type. I mean, come on, those are basically your biological fingerprints, and they're being collected and cataloged as we speak. And this right here nails the fundamental shift. All those so-called free platforms, they became these incredibly efficient extraction engines. And here's the crucial point you have to get. You were never the customer. You were the product. You were the thing being refined for sale. At the end of the day, you are the data set. Which brings us to probably the biggest liability of them all, centralized cloud storage. Just stop and think about that for a second. Your most private files, your family photos, maybe your entire life's work, all of it is sitting on servers you don't own, it's being audited by systems you can't even see, and it's all governed by those crazy long terms of service that, let's be real, none of us ever truly read. And that right there is the breaking point. It's the simple, undeniable truth of our digital world. If you don't control the server, the actual physical hardware, you fundamentally do not control your data. It's that simple, period. Okay, so if that's the problem, and it's a big one, what's the solution? Well, it starts with a mindset shift. We have to stop being the product. It's time to become the architect of our own digital lives. So where do you start? Here are the first two super foundational steps. First, you deploy a personal encrypted server stack. Just think of it like building your own private corner of the internet, or like a digital safe that you and only you hold the key to. Then, second, you start migrating away from those corporate clouds to decentralized storage protocols. What does that mean? It means your data isn't just sitting in one big, juicy, hackable pile. Instead, it gets broken up, encrypted, and scattered across a whole secure network. And listen, this isn't just some techie change, it's a huge philosophical one. It's about moving from being completely dependent on these massive corporations to being digitally sovereign. It's a shift from a state of constant vulnerability to a state of real control. All right, let's switch gears to communication and see how this idea builds out. You see, a huge part of the whole surveillance model relies on them being the middleman for pretty much all our interactions. So the obvious question is, what happens when we just cut them out? The old model is painfully simple, right? Your message goes from you through a corporation's servers and then finally to the person you're talking to. And guess what? Every single one of those steps is a data collection point. But the new model is even simpler. It's just you to the recipient, direct, encrypted, no middleman. And that means no audit trail for advertisers, no silent scraping of your private conversations, just absolute privacy. Okay, now we're gonna go even deeper. Let's talk about identity, the actual core of who you are online. For decades, we've been relying on this super flimsy system of just usernames and passwords. We can do so much better. So let me introduce you to the world of zero-knowledge proofs. Seriously, this is a total game changer. It's a cryptographic method that lets you prove something is true without revealing the actual data that makes it true. So for example, you could prove you're over 18 without ever showing your driver's license or your birth date. Or you could prove you have enough money for a purchase without ever revealing your bank balance. That's the key. Verification without exposure. Now, what happens when you combine that with tools like decentralized identifiers or DIDs? The easiest way to think of this is like a universal digital ID that isn't tied to Google or Facebook or anyone else. It's one you actually own, and you can take it with you anywhere online. Then you layer on something called soul-bound credentials. These are basically non-transferable digital badges that prove your skills or accomplishments, letting you build your reputation without some big central company having to sign off on it. So what's the bottom line here? With these tools, your identity is no longer something you're just renting from a social media company. It becomes an asset that you, and you alone, truly own and control.
Okay, theory is fantastic, right? But it doesn't mean a thing if you can't put it into practice. So let's get practical. How do you actually make this shift happen in your day-to-day life? All right, here's your action plan. First, start by replacing that public cloud storage. Really take back control of your files. Next, adopt passwordless authentication using crypto keys. Trust me, it's way more secure and way easier than trying to remember dozens of different passwords. Then do some digital spring cleaning. Audit all those old accounts and reclaim your data. And from now on, try to live by this mantra. Delete what you don't control, encrypt what you absolutely must keep, and finally, segment what you share. Only give out information on a strict need-to-know basis.
Just take a second and imagine this future with me. A future where your personal data is treated like the valuable asset it is, something you control, not some raw commodity to be harvested and sold. A future where you can move across the web with real confidence, knowing that your digital footprint is guarded by you. And that's how real change happens, you know? The surveillance era doesn't have to be defeated in some big, dramatic fight. It can just be made obsolete. It can be outgrown, replaced by a better, smarter, more sovereign architecture. Which really brings us to the final question, the one you've got to answer for yourself. In this emerging landscape, are you going to stay centralized, a product in someone else's system, or are you going to start building your own sovereign future? It's a big question. Let us know what you think. Hey, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one as we keep exploring how to architect the future of our digital world.